What a crazy, crazy divisional round weekend.
If you're a football fan, you definitely loved watching some football last weekend. I mean, the divisional round was everything that you hoped for, especially on Sunday. 2 games down to the wire, basically to the last play or the last final minute of the game. I mean, the Los Angeles Rams game versus the Philadelphia Eagles, when there was like 5 minutes left in the game and Saquon Barkley ran that, went off for that, 60-plus yard touchdown.
It's like every week.
I was literally like, game's over. I was texting all my friends in the group chat, game over, game over. And then you're like, nah, you can never count out Stafford. You can never count out McVay. And then what do you know? I'm still sitting there, nah, it's over. They can't make that comeback. What do you know? What do they do? They go down and score a touchdown, super fast. But my question is, they were so urgent on that drive, but they couldn't score on the other drives in the second half, and they weren't really playing with urgency. So why not play with that urgency the whole entire game instead of waiting until the last 4 minutes of the game?
You kept talking about that.
I
remember when we were watching, you were saying they should have went NASCAR, no huddle earlier because what it essentially does is it tires out that defensive line group and it traps that team on the field. So then they don't get to sub in fresh guys all the time. And they were struggling getting that defensive line picked up, and they had some bad couple drives. What they threw with a pick. There was the fumble, right? Was there a fumble?
There was something. There was a couple turnovers.
There was 2 turnovers in a row, and then they turned it on, and it was almost one drive too late. But I think
it was one drive too late. But they would have won that game if it wasn't for the absolute stud that they have on the defensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he was the number 1 overall draft pick, or at least top 5 for the Eagles, and that's Jalen Carter.
Monster.
Everyone else was tired besides that guy.
Remember?
And
he had some pre-draft shit. And Howie Roseman picked him up like it was a fucking steal at 8 or something.
And if you break down that play as well, there was a couple guys open. The Los Angeles Rams would have won that game if it wasn't for Carter. If he didn't sack Stafford, there were some guys that were wide open that Stafford could have just easily flicked the ball to, and that would have been game right there. And that would have been one of the best comebacks in playoff history, especially on the road in Philly, cold, snowy, freaking unbelievable football conditions for football fans. That's what you want to see. That's what was so cool about the games on Sunday too.
Well,
snowy.
Two snow games.
It wasn't snowy at the beginning of the games, and then snowing in the middle of the game, and then there was snow all over the field. And I feel like what was cool is that it didn't affect the players at all. Either a couple of the players, I don't want to individualize anyone there, but overall, just as a team, that cold weather didn't mentally drain anyone. Everyone that went out there and played solid football and gave it their all, which is great to see as a football fan.
Definitely. I mean, I don't think the weather affected anyone. I didn't see very many slips. Yeah, there were some drops in that Raven game. I feel terrible for Mark Andrews.
Man.
He had a
Mark Andrews, man.
He had a bad day at the office.
Great guy.
And he
great
works his
player
tail
as
off.
well.
Yeah.
One of the all-time great Baltimore Ravens. He leads the franchise in touchdown receptions as well. I feel bad for him, man, and hopefully I'm praying for him in the future that he gets another chance to redeem himself. And if you keep working hard, Mark, it's going to come. It's that redemption's going to come, and you're going to come through the next time, it comes your way.
But biggest surprise of all, Commanders beating the freaking Lions.
That was the biggest surprise.
That's a freaking,
But the problem is, the Lions, they had 30 different defensive starters start for them this year. Their offense came out, a couple mistakes. If Jared Goff didn't throw that one pick six, it would have been a total different ball game. It would have been a lot closer. But, you got
12 man.
Yeah,
12 men in the huddle.
Too. How crazy was that?
They beat themselves. Like the Lions, I argue that maybe that bye week took them off their feng shui, as I always like to say.
How about though? This just shows how great Tom is as a quarterback, because even when he was up in the booth, he was calling out, "Hey, 12 men on the field, 12 men on the field." And when we were playing in games, how many times did Tom take advantage when there was 12 guys on the field and try to hurry up and snap the ball because he knew it was a free play? That's how just how much awareness he had, because he knew where we all were on the field. He knew what play was going to be on, was called. He knew what the linemen were doing. And then also he was keeping track of how many guys were on the field.
Yeah, because if you see he's watching the defense while he's about to call a play, and if they're bringing in another lineman and that lineman doesn't get off, he'd get us to there and we'd Rambo it. But yeah, there was just too many penalties too many mistakes for the Detroit Lions. And I just remember vividly always hear it in our meetings. You know, more games are lost than won, and playoff football is about the team that makes the least amount of mistakes. Now, you can jump over to the Buffalo and Ravens game, and you could say, you know, Josh Allen didn't have a sexy, crazy game, but Josh Allen didn't make any mistakes, and they controlled the game, and they didn't turn the ball over, while Baltimore turned the ball over a few times and beat themselves. Like, it's usually the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, executes the best in situational football is the team that wins, and that was on display this divisional round.
Ravens versus Bills. Did the Bills win that game, or did the Ravens lose the game?
I think it's a combination of both. The Bills went out and won that game. They made plays, they made sacks, no mistakes.
And then Ravens made a couple mistakes.
You know, there was drop balls, there was fumbles, there was interceptions.
You can feel that the Ravens were the better team, but they just didn't come through in the clutch situations. So
not the better team that day.
Not the better team that day. So it's both in that category. The Bills did do everything they needed to do to win and didn't make the mistakes, but the Ravens also hurt themselves. So how about, all right, let's go through all the games. Chiefs versus Texans. Did the Texans beat themselves, or did the Chiefs really win the game because they were a better team?
I think that's just a team. Chiefs just did what the Chiefs do. It seemed like, I mean, they had 23 days off. They seemed like they started a little slow. They put it together at the end. You know, you don't cover Travis Kelce, the postseason leader in every category almost, or he's going to be, and you let a guy like him just go scot-free in the middle of the field. I mean, I think the Chiefs went out and beat, like, you can't do those kind of things and think you're going to beat the Chiefs.
I agree.
You can't turn the ball over and think you're going to beat the Chiefs. Chiefs are too good.
Commanders versus Lions.
And Commanders, Lions?
Yeah. Come on. I think the Commanders won the game.
They won that game.
It's not like the Lions lost the game.
How many times did they go 4 on 4th?
You know, the Commanders deserved to win that game. And on top of that, they put their foot on the gas pedal for the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and they finished it off by giving it a turbo boost as well, you know, within the fourth quarter to get them over that hump versus the Lions. So the Commanders won that game fair and square. It wasn't like the Lions lost it.
They gave the Lions a little dose of the Lions. They went on it for fourth and capitalized every single time. Jaden Daniels, that dude is smooth as butter, as room temperature butter.
And then Rams versus Eagles. Eagles win that game, or did the Rams, you know, cost themselves that game and lose it?
I mean, there was turnovers. If the Rams didn't turn the ball over,
I would say this is like the Ravens versus Bills. This is a combination of both. The Eagles deserve to win this game because of the running game. They didn't really have any turnovers, did they?
No.
Yeah,
who?
They were pretty sound.
Who?
The Eagles.
No, they didn't turn the ball over.
They were pretty sound in that department. But the Rams,
they
couple turnovers.
They had that Jalen Hurts.
They did. He almost fumble. But he didn't turn it over. The Rams, a couple turnovers, and then still had a chance.
Jalen be holding that thing like a loaf of bread. I mean, I still have nightmares in the Super Bowl. When you know, he had a great game, but they had a scoop and score fumble for a touchdown. Like, he's had a few of those. Like, we gotta tighten that up, bro. I lost $50,000 on you guys from that game. Okay? All right, let's
make
talk
another
about
bet. Make another bet.
Yeah.
Make up for it, baby.
What
got
about
it?
Let's jump like real quick.
Championship
weekend.
All right, here we go.
Bills Chiefs.
We got the Bills Chiefs. That's going to be a heck of a game. That's going to be a rematch of this year. The Chiefs actually have beaten the Bills 3 times in like the last 4 years, I think it was, in the postseason. And the Bills always beat them in the regular season. So this is huge for Buffalo. The city of Buffalo is absolutely turned up right now. And the Bills, you know, Mafia, they're not really big fans of me right now because I chose Baltimore, you know, to win because I said, you know, defense wins big games in the cold weather. And the defense for the Baltimore Ravens were playing at an exceptional level over the last 6 weeks. And also when you can run the ball and with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry out of the backfield, that's the reason why I went with the Baltimore Ravens. And let me tell you, I'm hearing it from the Buffalo fans right now. I'm hearing it from my family who lives in Buffalo. I'm hearing it from my friends. They're sending me that emoji middle finger over to me. But they got to understand, I was doing the reverse psychology.
That's a reverse jinx. Reverse
psychology trick. I really wanted the Buffalo Bills to win. I'm from Buffalo. I was always a Buffalo fan growing up. So let me tell you, I want the Kansas City Chiefs to win again.
Another reverse jinx.
Yes, another reverse jinx. The Kansas City Chiefs, how can they stop Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? And how can they block Chris Jones at the defensive tackle spot?
Well, they haven't done it in the playoffs.
And they've never done it before in the playoffs. So I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs once again, coming up this weekend versus Buffalo.
It's hard to bet against the Chiefs in this spot. I was really impressed with the Bills defense. They took the ball away against the Ravens a couple times. They played tight defense. They tackled well for the most part. I mean, that's a small everyone in goddamn TV, podcasts, internet talks about how small that defense was. Well, and they only gave up how many points? 20 something points to the Ravens, which have been on fire. This Eagles Commanders
Hold on. Before the Bill, you're talking about the Bills defense. There's a huge difference maker that came back this year, and it is Milano. I played versus that guy, and I didn't really know who he was.
He was young still.
He was young, and I had a beat up back when I played him that one game. I had like one catch, and I couldn't even move. But like I could still tell when you're a great player.
Yeah.
Even if anyone can cover me that day, but I was literally ran a route, and I'm like, who is this linebacker covering me? Like this guy is sharp. Even though I wasn't sharp that game, but I could still tell.
Boston College.
I was like, this guy's sharp. Milano, you are the true difference maker for the Buffalo Bills right now. Welcome, the Bills Mafia. Welcome Milano back. He is truly a game changer for you guys.
And he's gotten stronger each week because he tore his bicep, came back, 9-10 weeks, which is incredible.
Back to the Commanders, Eagles.
Back to the Commanders, Eagles. I've been tough on the Eagles all year.
You have been. Why? Explain why. Why have you been tough on the Eagles, Jules?
We've never seen a team with as many distractions as they've had go out and win a Super Bowl.
I can name a team that has, and that's the New England Patriots.
Yeah, but they don't have Tom Brady.
Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Distractions don't mean anything. It's like water, like just flowing off the shoulder.
You're talking about the arguably the best quarterback coach combo. Okay, that can't be the same. The same cannot be said about the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
And you can tell that with Coach Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, like all the outside distractions affect them. Like,
it hasn't since he shaved his head.
A little.
They've been proving me wrong
at the beginning.
They've been proving me wrong each and every week, and I think it's because of Saquon, man. I'm super happy for Saquon. He's been a fucking monster. It's about time people putting him up there with the greats. He just never played with a good offensive line. You give him a good offensive line for the first time in his life, and he's doing what he's doing. I mean, he is a true difference maker that's masking a lot of problems. I love watching A.J. Brown play, but there's some shit going on with that whole thing. A.J.'s reading books on the side. Like, we've never seen stuff like that. What team have you seen these kind of things happen and go out and win a Super Bowl? And that's where they've played their standard too. It's either Super Bowl or bust for them because they're that good of an organization.
They really are.
So that's me like saying it's just hard for me to say that they're going to go out, but I think they're going to beat up on the Commanders.
That's a hot take, Jules, man.
I thought the Commanders were going to beat last week, but they beat the shit out of Detroit. Football is best.
I mean, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game because of their offensive line. I mean, the absolute beastly there. I mean, their smallest guy is their center, Jurgen, and he's 6'3", 320 pounds. All the other guys, even their guards, are above 6'6". I never seen guards that are 6'6", 6'8", and 340 pounds. When we were in New England, Coach Belichick loved the guards that were about 6'2", 290 to 310. They weren't that big of guys at all, but they were very mobile. But this offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, Lane Johnson, 6'8", 340.
Quarterback in high school.
Absolute beast as well. They're athletic, and they don't take no shit. They're fighters out there. They're street fighters, this offensive line. That's why I'm going with the Eagles. But the Commanders, I'm super impressed with them this year. Jaden Daniels has been doing things that you never seen done by a rookie quarterback ever before. And all the skill players as well, they kind of started off a little shaky at the beginning of the year, but the vets have picked it up big time. Like Zach Ertz, he's been coming through, in phenomenal situations. Eckler has picked it up out of the backfield as well. And McLaurin, he's been McLaurin throughout his whole career. It doesn't matter what quarterback he has, but it just shows when he has a real connection with a quarterback how good he really is.
You know what? You got to tip your cap to Dan Quinn. I mean, this coach has been to a Super Bowl with another team already, and then goes to a very bad situation in outside land looking in with the Washington Commanders, which this organization's been a disaster. I mean,
Disaster.
we got stadiums falling down, ownership, whatever, a lot of craziness. They go in and they're going to the NFC Championship in the first year with the rookie quarterback. Dan Quinn, that's pretty awesome. Also, big question mark. Is Cliff Kingsbury going to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
Ooh.
Is he like, is he going to?
Well, I can tell you this. It should have been Dan Quinn. He should have stayed in Dallas for one more year, and then with McCarthy gone, Jerry Jones messed that up.
I think Dan Quinn
should have paid Dan
right where
Quinn
he
when
wants
he was
to be.
in Cowboys. He is right where he wants to be, but I'm just giving a theoretical of what could have possibly happened. And if Dan Quinn could have been promoted to head coach, because I believe that Dallas Cowboys tanked this year, not on purpose. They just tanked because Dan Quinn left to be the head coach of the Washington Commanders. And you look how good that defense they were
Lost
over the last
players.
couple of years. And then Dan Quinn leaves, and then look at, they weren't really playing up the par this year, Jules. And Michael Parsons even said something about Dan Quinn leaving as well, that they missed him big time about halfway through the season this year. So tip your hat to Dan Quinn as well. He's doing a phenomenal job.